All right, got a couple of press releases that piqued our interest, and so we reached out to Congressman Juan Ciscomani. He introduces a bill to strengthen military readiness and environmental stewardship, and the other one is the congressman urging the U.S. Air Force to bring the new Space Force mission to Fort Huachuca in southern Arizona. He joins us now. Congressman, always great to talk to you.
Mike, always good to be on with you, my man.
So let's start with the bill to strengthen military readiness and environmental stewardship. Can you explain what the goals are here and where we would be affected in Arizona by this if it passed?
Yeah, you got it. First of all, glad to be back home. I'm driving back from Casa Grande right now. Just met with the Group Pinal Partnership. They're doing great stuff in Pinal County. They listen to you there. They love you there, Mike. So always good to be in that area. Let's start with that one. So an act called the Sykes Act, back in 1960, it came into play. It was a bill that became a law then. And what it does, it allows military bases from around the country to be able to work with the DOD and also different entities within the federal government to protect endangered species in their areas. As you know, these military bases have large chunks of land, and many times endangered species are in those areas. So it allows the military to be able to work with groups from the area to make sure that we protect them. The problem is that what's missing is, for example, in Fort Huachuca, where they run into, is the ability to work with these groups to protect these endangered species right outside the area of the base, where the base ends. For us, it's the San Pedro River in southern Arizona, and that is a big section where there are some endangered species. So that doesn't allow for the military at this point to be able to work to protect these endangered species. And also, quite frankly, it opens up to unnecessary and frivolous lawsuits from far left groups that are just looking for ways and opportunities to sue the federal government. Once this amendment passes, the military installation and the DOD are going to be able to work with other entities to protect these endangered species. So it basically goes from not only on the base area, but also right outside, allow us to protect these endangered species.
So is the concern from the environmental groups, are there claims that you are endangering this area, that you having a disability would somehow harm? Is that what their concerns are, or their accusation?
Yeah, it's sort of like in that area. You know, some of these groups will always be on the side of suing the federal government, anti-military. They're the ones that make it very hard for Border Patrol to do their job as well. They're groups that are very hard to work with. And again, if they are really interested in protecting these endangered species, then they would be supportive of this. This is why this amendment has support from both sides, and also some true environmental groups that want to protect these species that now know that that's going to allow the base and the DOD to actually work together to protect whenever we find these endangered species. Right now, all these in the San Pedro River are basically unprotected. So these groups find ways to launch these lawsuits, and you know, it's the costing money of that, but also, honestly, it's the way to protect these endangered species. This is the best way that we can find them.
Yeah, and I know this isn't the topic we're talking about right now, but when it comes to those environmental groups, a few months ago, I was down in Arivaca, and we traveled the entire length of the border going toward Nogales until the border wall ended, and that's where people used to walk around the wall and the structure that was there, and the amount of trash, paperwork and trash and human waste that's strewn across the desert. You would think these environmental groups, just based on that alone, would be trying to do something to prevent that from happening, because it was just ruining the beautiful desert in southern Arizona.
Absolutely. I've got a bill on that as well that I introduced last session and are doing it again now about that. It's about the trash that was left behind and how that's impacting the environment. So again, this is a test for all those groups to say, do you honestly want to address this and deal with it, or are you still going to just want to shout and scream and launch lawsuits? I mean, we've got a real opportunity here to protect the environment, which I consider myself someone that wants to do that, protect the beauty of our state, especially in southern Arizona, where it's just a gorgeous area full of beautiful landscape, and necessary for the military to do its job as well. We can do both on protecting the environment, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, perfect. We're being joined by Congressman Juan Ciscomani from Arizona's 6th Congressional District, which represents this, what he's talking about in southern Arizona. Let's talk about the Space Force. In what capacity would you like to see the Space Force here in Arizona, and what would the results be as a benefit to Arizona?
Yeah, in a full capacity as much as possible. So we all know that Southern Arizona is the astronomy capital of America for a reason. We have a very strong stark advantage for air and space operations that includes, because of the geographic qualities, bright skies, not a lot of clouds most of the year, ordinances and towns around of keeping the lights low because of the University of Arizona Observatory there as well. So a lot of reasons why this makes sense for just Southern Arizona overall, specifically on Fort Huachuca. Now, whenever a new mission comes into play at an installation or a base, it brings over a lot of jobs, a lot of economic development, a lot of economic impact. So that's one of the top reasons that. I also believe that Fort Huachuca is well positioned to be a leader on this. And when this mission comes on, and we're talking about Space Force here, where it's the new frontier of the battle, right? We've got China and Russia playing in this arena of hundreds, if not thousands, of satellites that are being launched. And it's a battle for who controls the space in future conflicts between nations. And with China and Russia making such inroads on that, we need to make sure that we beat them to the punch. And Fort Huachuca is well positioned to be able to do that.
Do you think that Fort Huachuca or the surrounding areas would be an area where launches would happen of those satellites?
Well, the missions, the specifics of the missions are classified at this point. So the specifics of it are something that we're not able to share at this time. However, what we know is that it's going to be about battling for who takes over that space the quickest. And Fort Huachuca already has the infrastructure in several ways. First of all, it was built to house more people than it currently has. So we have the capacity to have more soldiers move in. But also remember, Fort Huachuca is a leader in cybersecurity and intelligence defense. So it has the high technology necessary, not only in the geographic area of Sierra Vista and that region in Cochise County, but it's well positioned in every way possible to make sure that happens. That's why I got to give credit to Hamadeh, Representative Hamadeh and Andy Biggs, that both signed on to the letter to this. Notably missing from that letter, that declined actually to be on that letter, was Senator Kelly and Representative Ansari. They not only didn't respond, but they declined to be on that letter. So it's unfortunate that they try to play partisan games with this. This is a win for the community, a win for Southern Arizona, and a win for the country. And that's why I'm leading on it.
Yeah, we are very blessed here in Arizona, here in the Valley with Luke Air Force Base and the F-35 training that happens there and all the other things at Luke and Davis-Monthan down in southern Arizona, defense contractors. But Fort Huachuca has always been such a shining star for the military and for the community. It means so much to the community in southern Arizona. We're also glad that they are there and have so many veterans represented after they get out of the military that stay here in the state of Arizona.
That's right. I mean, it's primed for it. Every time I'm in Washington, and so many people have come through Fort Huachuca to train, and also it's seen as that center for, again, cybersecurity and intelligence defense. So Fort Huachuca plays a huge role in the national security aspect. It's tucked away in Sierra Vista and Cochise County. A lot of people may not know about it, general public. But I'm telling you, the military world does know about it, and it plays a humongous key role. And that's why we need to do everything we can to make sure that we get selected for that. So I'm working every angle. The letter is one thing that we did, but I'm meeting with the White House about this, with the Department of Defense. We're putting, a full court press on this, because it would be a huge deal. Again, I believe it's the best place for the country to select it for our overall national defense. But I got to say, as someone representing that area, I wanted to go there because of all the benefits that it brings. It's also a community, Mike, that you've been there. Appreciate the military.
Yep.
Appreciate our veterans. It's a great place for them to move, raise a family, and grow that community and the economic impact. So it's a win-win-win across the board.
Congressman, it's always great to catch up with you, and I hope next time you're in the Valley we get to get together.
You got it, brother. Anytime, Mike. Talk to you soon.
All right, that is Congressman Juan Ciscomani spending a few moments talking about wanting to protect endangered species, but also the Space Force and the impact it could have on the economy of Arizona, but how Arizona could also help in the next level of national defense. Great catching up with him.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.